And welcome once again to another edition of the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. Happy Monday. It's the second episode of 2026. We had a fantastic episode last week, and I'm excited that I'm here talking sports, which what I love to do. We've got a lot to cover, including NFL Wildcard Weekend. Wasn't that fantastic? That was absolutely incredible. Those matchups. We had the first four games that went down to the wire at the last possession. We still have one more game tonight, the Houston Texans traveling to the Steel City to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then the divisional round will be set. I will preview the divisional games. Obviously, we have an opponent that is waiting the winner of tonight's game. Going to talk about the national championship. It's going to be between Indiana and Miami. Going to recap those semifinal games in the Peach Bowl and in the Fiesta Bowl. It was just an incredible matchup. And 3 years in a row now that we have not had an SEC team in the national championship. And I'll talk about why that's the case. Also, later in the show, I will get into the NBA. Trae Young gets traded to the Washington Wizards. The Hawks actually look better without him. And then we also got some college basketball. Auburn get a big win over Arkansas at Neville Arena. Georgia goes on the road to defeat South Carolina. It's going to be a fun show. Going to go about 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and dive right into the show. We're going to start with those Saturday games on Wildcard Weekend. How about the Los Angeles Rams getting a big win over the Carolina Panthers on the road? The Rams were a double-digit favorite, and they were able to survive. Colby Parkinson gets the game-winning touchdown to put them on top. And, Bryce Young's first playoff game, he actually was pretty good. He had 2 touchdowns. But Matthew Stafford, even though, he threw 42 passes in this game, he had an interception. He played good, but the run game really did not get going. It's really Puka Nacua that's really bailing out Matthew Stafford. He's having a great MVP season, but it's Puka Nacua who's really been the sure target receiver. It was good to see Devontae Adams back in the lineup after suffering an injury. And I worry about the Rams defense. The fact that they gave up 31 points to an 8-9 Carolina Panthers team. But when you have a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, you can never go against him. He is deadly with the ball in his hands, and he was able to get the go-ahead score when I thought that the Panthers could possibly win this game. And if they did, that would have been a huge upset for the Carolina Panthers. But wow, I mean, what a play by the Rams. You had the Panthers who blocked that punt that gave them the go-ahead touchdown. That was incredible. And the Panthers just could not do anything with the ball. Wow, what a play. 38 seconds left to go. Matthew Stafford to Colby Parkinson for the 19-yard touchdown, and now the Rams move on to the divisional round. Let's move on to the next game. Saturday night, how about those Chicago Bears? I know a lot of people from the Chicago area, from the Midwest, who they were casual Cubs fans when the Cubs won the World Series. And I could not believe how many people got on social media and started pumping their chest because the Bears beat the Packers. This is such a big deal, a big story even if you're not a Bears fan, if you are just a local Chicagoan who casually likes sports, the Bears get the big win over the Green Bay Packers, 31-27. At one point in this game, the Packers had a 21-3 lead. Jordan Love had 4 touchdown passes. It looked like the Packers were the more buttoned-up team, but you can never count out Caleb Williams. They've done this all season. Caleb Williams gets them back into this game. It was absolutely incredible. Even though Caleb Williams, he made some mistakes. He had the 2 interceptions. But when the game's on the line, I'm actually rooting for Caleb Williams to get the job done. I think what helped the Bears come back into this game was that missed field goal. Remember, this was 21-6 going into the fourth quarter. I mean, are you kidding me? The Chicago Bears came in with a game plan, put up 25 points in the fourth quarter. This was an absolute meltdown by the Green Bay Packers, and word this morning is that Matt LaFleur is going to keep his job. They're going to extend him. But I would not get rid of Matt LaFleur. He is not the reason why the Green Bay Packers have exited the playoffs the last 2 seasons in the first round when they were supposed to be Super Bowl contenders. They lost Micah Parsons. That's a huge injury. Micah Parsons was supposed to be that piece to put him on the top to reach a Super Bowl. And I can't believe that the Packers lose in the first round, but this team started 5-1-1. So they lose to the Chicago Bears. The Bears will move on, where they will take on the Los Angeles Rams next Sunday. That's going to be at Soldier Field. Rams and Bears. Man, sign me up for that. I'll preview that game in just a second. Let's talk about Sunday's games. Sunday's games. The Buffalo Bills. Wow, Josh Allen, isn't he amazing? They get a huge win over the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this was the best game all afternoon. This was one of those games where they had just so many lead changes back and forth, all in the fourth quarter. The Jaguars go up 17-13 in the fourth quarter. Buffalo scores a touchdown. Jacksonville scores a touchdown. Then Buffalo ends up getting a touchdown. Josh Allen runs it in on a 1st and goal. I think the Jaguars let him score because with 54 seconds left to go, the Jaguars have a chance to try to at least get Cam Little, who's kicked 70-yard field goals before, into field goal range. And then, unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence throws that interception to Cole Bishop. But breaking down this game, I thought both teams played fantastic. But Josh Allen made the plays necessary to get the job done when the run game wasn't going so well. James Cook only rushed for 3.1 yards a carry. I don't know how the Buffalo Bills are doing this. I mean, they brought Brandon Cooks in, and he was just playing this season. Shakir had 12 receptions. Keon Coleman, that rookie receiver, they still have several pieces. Even Frank Gore Jr. got involved. But, the Buffalo Bills don't really have a defense that it can stop anybody. But yet the Buffalo Bills, by the way, first road playoff win since 1992. Bills Mafia is pumping their chest this morning. I feel bad for Jacksonville because I like what Liam Cohen has done. That Trevor Lawrence has really progressed, and they won 13 games. And I thought maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars had an outside shot at getting to the Super Bowl. But this was Buffalo's time. They were a slight favorite for a reason because you can never count out Josh Allen. And I can honestly say that with no Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson, no Joe Burrow, Josh Allen is going to be the quarterback to lead the Bills to the Super Bowl. I don't think they can win the Super Bowl. I think the Bills can get to the Super Bowl as long as Josh Allen is the quarterback. Well, they play the Denver Broncos on Saturday. Get ready. That is going to be an incredible game. That Broncos defense going up against Josh Allen. I'm excited to see that game. All right, Let's talk about probably the upset of the afternoon. The San Francisco 49ers go into the city of brotherly love and get a huge upset over the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, 23-19. How do the 49ers win this game? I'm still shocked. This morning, they lost George Kittle to an Achilles tear in the game. They were playing without, obviously, Fred Warner, out for the season. D. Winters, Tatum Bethune, also out. They had practice squad guys playing linebacker. They were so banged up. They don't have their number one receiver, Brandon Ayuk. They don't have their number one tight end, George Kittle. They really been running Christian McCaffrey into the ground. The job that Kyle Shanahan has done, the fact that this team is 13-5 when it looked like they were going to be maybe 7-10, 8-9 just because of all the pieces they lost. I don't care that they played an easy schedule. They beat the Super Bowl champs, the most talented team in the NFL, the defense that has pretty much Georgia players, and Vic Fangio is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. How did the Eagles lose this game? This is actually a testament to how bad the coaching is for the Philadelphia Eagles. You have a 13-10 lead going into halftime. The 49ers actually missed an opportunity when Brock Purdy fumbled the ball out of bounds. There was a 10-second runoff, and the 49ers came up with 0 points to end the half. The Eagles have the ball to start the second half. They can't get anything done, and Brock Purdy throws 2 interceptions, and the Eagles only were able to muster 3 points. Are you kidding me? You have Jalen Hurts. He's won a Super Bowl. He has been with Nick Sirianni since day one. He's been a good dual-threat quarterback, not a great dual-threat quarterback, a good dual-threat quarterback. I was listening to Sports Talk Radio. Yeah, Lane Johnson wasn't playing in this game, but the 49ers don't have a pass rush, so it doesn't make a difference if Lane Johnson wasn't playing in this game. A.J. Brown, I mean, he needs to go. He needs to get traded in the offseason. I mean, he's demanding the ball. He is barking on the sidelines to Nick Sirianni. You know, they have Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley. They brought over Saquon Barkley. He rushed for over 2,000 yards last year. Obviously, he's regressed. He's gotten a little bit older. And the Eagles couldn't do anything on offense. I'm very impressed with the 49ers defense. But I think that this was more of a testament of the Eagles losing this game. And Philly fans are so upset this morning. They are calling for Nick Sirianni to be fired. I would not be shocked if he got fired, because I think the Eagles, they might want to think about getting John Harbaugh, who used to be a special teams coach for the Eagles. But this team is just completely whiffed. They have the most talent, they have the most talented roster in the league, and they lose in the first round of the playoffs. Wow. I'm shocked that the 49ers won. I picked that the Eagles were going to win this game, but the 49ers were going to outcoach them, because this is a complete coaching mismatch with Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh going up against Nick Sirianni and Kyle Petullo, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. Now, Vic Fangio's fine, but Nick Sirianni does not call plays, and Kyle Petullo, if anything, they're going to be on their 5th offensive coordinator, because I think Kyle Petullo is gone, and the 49ers advance where they will take on the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I got plenty of time to preview this game. Obviously, the Seahawks open up as a 7-point favorite. They are the better team. It was proven in Week 18 when they completely dominated the 49ers to get the number 1 seed. With George Kittle out, I just don't know what chance the 49ers have, but I'll never doubt them. Every time they make the playoffs, they at least get to the NFC Championship. I would not be shocked if they made it to the NFC Championship. Probably more than likely playing the Rams. But if the Seattle Seahawks win this game, I think the Seahawks are going to the Super Bowl. And that is painful for me to say, because I dislike the Seahawks so much as a 49ers fan. And I also dislike the Rams. I mean, I do want to applaud the NFC West for having 3 teams still in the playoffs. So, yeah, the 49ers were in the toughest division in all of football with the Seahawks and Rams in it. So, Yeah, I went more than the allotted time on the 49ers. I am a 49ers fan. Obviously, I'm wearing red this afternoon, and I am just excited that the San Francisco 49ers win a playoff game. You know, the last time the 49ers lost in the divisional round was 2002 when they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like their chances to get to another NFC championship. Kyle Shanahan should be coach of the year. Robert Saleh should be getting a head coaching position somewhere. That's for sure. All right. So those first four games were incredible, right? Well, we had the Sunday night game. Not so much. Oh, boy. The New England Patriots, they sacked Justin Herbert 6 times. The Patriots defense looked incredible. Drake May, I mean, he got sacked 5 times. I mean, he wasn't really anything special. He did rush for 66 yards. Ramondre Stevenson, who's really one of those Belichick-type players, it got 75 yards receiving rather. And then, Stephon Diggs didn't really have a big game. Hunter Henry got that touchdown. But the Chargers completely no-showed in this game. Justin Herbert, he had 6 sacks. He had a quarterback rating of 74. He was the leading rusher. Where was the receiver that would step up? They don't have a receiver like that. Lag McConkey's maybe a 3. Keenan Allen is way past his prime. Remember Quentin Johnson from TCU was a bust a couple of years ago? And the offensive line is depleted. The defense has some good players. But, this was a year where the Chargers really weren't supposed to be in the playoffs. I mean, Jim Harbaugh coached the best he possibly could, but the Chargers are going to need help. And when you lose Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt, your right tackle and left tackle for the season, I mean, what can you do? I mean, you're playing with backups on that offensive line. And so, with that being said, the New England Patriots will await the winner of the game tonight, the Houston Texans, which have the best defense in all of football, taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. And will this be Aaron Rodgers' last game as a professional football player? Or will this be Mike Tomlin's last game as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers? I mean, there's a lot on the line today. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and take our first break. And when we come back, I'm going to break down the semifinal matchups between Miami and Ole Miss, Indiana, Oregon, and I'm going to preview that national championship, which is going to be played next Monday in Miami. You don't want to go anywhere. It is the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. And we will be right back after this. And welcome back to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge. Wow, what a show so far. We have broken down all the wild card games. Now let's talk about the college football semifinals, which took place last week. On Thursday, we had the Fiesta Bowl, and the Miami Hurricanes, it took on the Ole Miss Rebels. It was a fun game. It was a fun back-and-forth game. Carson Beck, he gets the go-ahead touchdown, and Trinidad Chambliss, with 18 seconds left, he had an opportunity to get the go-ahead touchdown for Ole Miss to win the game. And say what you want. If you feel like that could have been a pass interference call, I think the refs swallowed the whistle and just let him play. But what a fantastic game. I don't really look down on Ole Miss. They played so tough. To have an interim coach who's now the head coach, Pete Golding, take over for Lane Kiffin, and for Trinidad Chambliss to be a D2 player at Ferris State the year before, to be on the big stage has been phenomenal. But really, it's all about Carson Beck. Carson Beck had, a good game, 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception. It was Mark Fletcher that actually ran the ball very well with 133 yards. And you got Malachi Toney and you got Keelan Marion. You have got players that are going to be playing on Sundays. A lot of people say, well, the U is back because they're in the national championship. I remember the University of Miami in the 1980s and in the early 2000s when they were completely dominant, when they had players like Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Andre Johnson and Frank Gore. And even though, their quarterback was a game manager and Ken Dorsey, still a very good quarterback. Gino Toretto winning the Heisman Trophy in 1992. They had players that would play in the NFL. And I know with NIL and the transfer portal, Miami has money to bring the players over. And that's why they're in the national championship. There is another way to win. And the way that Indiana won as they smacked Oregon in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, 56-22. It wasn't even close, folks. Fernando Mendoza ends up throwing for 5 touchdown passes. And this has been the greatest story in college football, maybe even sports. This will be one of those stories that they'll end up making a movie about. And now I'm just getting excited who could possibly play Kirk Cignetti, the coach. But 56-22. This was a game, it was 7-7. Indiana, who's buttoned up. The average age of the players on the Indiana Hoosiers is 23. They actually have a bunch of 3-star players that have stuck around the program for years. And they do have some transfers. Fernando Mendoza was a transfer from Cal. So you got 2 different styles of play that are going to be playing in the national championship. How cool is this? Indiana, who's known as a basketball school, they are the losingest program in college football history to play for a national championship. And they are favored against Miami. I could see the Indiana Hoosiers winning a national championship. They've been undefeated, the number 1 overall seed all year. And they would also be the first team to finish the year 16-0, winning a national championship with that extra game in the 12-team college football playoff. They have silenced the critics on every single game they've had this season. Remember when the critics did not give them a chance against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship? Well, they proved them wrong. They got the big win. And remember when they said, well, they're going to lose to Alabama? Well, they proved everybody wrong there. They smacked Alabama 38-3. And then getting a big win over Oregon. Now there has been talks that Miami is going to be their biggest test. Possibly, but they have actually answered the bell every time. And so I think that Indiana could win this game. But I wouldn't be shocked if Miami wins, which would also be a very good sports story for them to win their 6th national championship. And then we could easily say with certainty that the U is back. But I cannot wait for this national championship. It's going to go down next week on MLK Day at the Miami Hard Rock Cafe Stadium. And Miami is the home team. And we expect the Indiana fans to make that trip all the way down to Miami like they packed the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta this past weekend. I know Indiana fans, pretty much, if you're a sports fan in the Northwest, you have got to be excited. Not only that the Cubs got Bregman, but also that the Chicago Bears won a playoff game and Indiana is in the national championship. This is incredible, because there are some people that live in the state of Indiana that are Chicago Bears fans. Or maybe Colts fans. I don't know. But that's, I would say, like, if you live near South Bend in that area, you're probably a Notre Dame fan. But it's a great story. This is the most incredible sports story. I would say if Indiana wins a national championship, this will be the best sports story since the Boston Red Sox winning the World Series in 2004. Now, why do I say 2004 and not the Chicago Cubs winning the World Series in 2016? Well, because we already saw it with the Red Sox. We didn't think it could possibly happen. What the Red Sox did to come down 3-0 to the New York Yankees and then to sweep the Cardinals in the World Series, that's never happened. We kind of expected that the Cubs could win the World Series in 2016, even though they came back from a 3-1 deficit over the Indians. So, yeah, this would be the biggest sports story since the Red Sox winning the World Series. Okay, well, we are just trucking along. I want to switch it back to the NFL. The Atlanta Falcons named Matt Ryan their president of football operations. Look, he's a smart guy. He went to Boston College. He's pretty buttoned up. I remember when he was the Falcons quarterback in 2008, they kept winning. I mean, they had back-to-back winning seasons for the first time in franchise history. He led them to 2 NFC championship appearances and a Super Bowl. And they were the number 1 seed 3 times. And he is going to go down as the greatest Atlanta Falcons quarterback of all time. That's not a knock on Michael Vick. It's just that Matt Ryan is the most decorated Atlanta Falcons quarterback. And I think this is a great move because he's going to bring the right people in to be successful. All right, couple of notes that I do want to talk about. So this Trae Young thing, the Hawks trading away Trae Young for C.J. McCollum, Corey Kispert, and draft picks. Yeah, it wasn't a bad trade. You're trying to get rid of that salary. I know they didn't get the superstar that they wanted. I still don't think they're done. They did defeat the Golden State Warriors last night, and it was a great performance by Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who had 24 points, Jalen Johnson with 23. The Hawks right now are 20-21. They got on a little bit of a winning streak so far. I mean, after beating the Golden State Warriors, beating the Denver Nuggets, they're on a 3-game win streak, and tomorrow they take on LeBron and Luka and the Lakers. So that game I'm interested to see. It's they got a little bit of a West Coast trip still going on, and then they will be home on Saturday to the Boston Celtics, which Boston has really been my surprise team in the NBA. They got rid of Kristaps Porzingis, who's now on the Hawks. Jason Tatum's out with that injury. Drew Holiday, he's gone. And Boston is right there in a half game behind the Knicks in the Atlantic Division, and with a 24-14 record. And Jaylen Brown and Derek White really have been the 2 catalysts that helped the Boston Celtics get to where they are. I like where the NBA is. Just looking at, obviously, the defending champions, OKC Thunder, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, averaging 31.9 points a game. And right now, it looks like if we were going to have a repeat champion, OKC looks strong, 33-7. They have the best record in the NBA. Over in the Eastern Conference, the Detroit Pistons have the best record in the East with a 28-10 record. And if you look at where the Hawks are, the Atlanta Hawks are just a game behind Miami for a 9 spots. The Hawks are right where, they don't want to be where that play-in game is. They want to try to get to that 6th seed where Orlando is. And then you got Philly, Toronto, which has really been the surprise team this year at 24-16. Boston, another surprise team. And the 2 top teams in the Eastern Conference are Detroit and New York. Over in the West, the San Antonio Spurs, they do it with guard play and Wemby. Wemby might be the most dominant player right now. He is fully in his prime. That De'Aaron Fox trade has been a home run. They also have Harrison Barnes, who has a championship ring from the Golden State Warriors. They've got great guard play like Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper. They have just a talented team. Denver also very talented, along with Minnesota. We expected those teams to be well. Lakers, some people say they're a little disappointed that the Lakers are only 23-13. That the West is so stacked that Phoenix right behind them. They've had a pretty good season so far. Houston, disappointing with Kevin Durant. I thought that would put them over the top to possibly compete and win a championship. Golden State, this is Draymond's farewell tour. Don't know how long Steph Curry is going to play. Portland and Memphis are teams that are going to be in the play-in. Ja Morant wants out of Memphis. Clippers and Dallas, I'm disappointed. And Sacramento and New Orleans, they just have way too much talent to be 9-30 for Sacramento, 9-32 for New Orleans, which is good news for the Atlanta Hawks because they do have New Orleans' pick next season. All right, real quick before I close this show, college basketball. Well, how about those Auburn Tigers? Got a big win at Neville Arena over the weekend. They were able to defeat John Calipari and the Arkansas Razorbacks and the Georgia Bulldogs. This was a game that I felt like they needed to win. They go into Columbia, South Carolina, and they get a victory. So congratulations to them. There is a new AP Top 25 out, and no surprise, Arizona is number one at 16-0. In fact, they are my pick to be number one seed. Michigan, they lose their first game of the season, losing to Wisconsin. They fall down to number 4. I think my number one seeds right now, I'll have a bracketology show next week. Arizona, Iowa State, UConn, and Purdue, with Michigan, Duke, Houston, and let's say Michigan State, number 2. I just think that the RPI, strength of schedule, even though Nebraska is undefeated, I think that they're probably a 3 seed or a 4 seed. Alabama is ranked 18th. They did fall 5 spots after losing to Texas over the weekend. Florida cracks the top 25. The defending NCAA champions, they are 11-5. They actually smacked Tennessee over the weekend. Georgia's going to play Ole Miss. They're going to play Ole Miss on Wednesday. They are ranked 21st. Auburn is not in the top 25. They do have some votes. Great to see Seton Hall back in the top 25. I used to love Seton Hall. Terry DeHare was such a great player. Seton Hall made it all the way to the NCAA championship in 1989. That was such a great team. And with that being said, wow, what a great show. Yeah, I went 30 minutes. This is what I'm going to do every Monday. We're going to be chopping up some highlight reels. I've been told the complete white backdrop had to go. So that's why I got the bookcase and I got the monitor right here. That's how I do it here on the Sports Beat. Comment if you like what you see or if you want to be a guest. Also, you could find me on Apple and Spotify commercial free. And I will also have this on my Facebook page and YouTube channel. So like and subscribe to both. And hope everybody has a great rest of your day. And we will see you next week.